Here I am with Helene Dunbar, and we are at the See a Book Fest reveal. And would you mind telling me a little bit about some of the books that you're writing?
Sure. My first book, These Gentle Wounds, came out last year. It's about a boy who survives a family tragedy, and the book takes place 5 years after that. I really wanted to do something involving PTSD in teens. I think we've done a great job as a culture educating people about PTSD in the military, but people aren't always aware that childhood trauma can actually affect the brain chemistry. And so it's him making his way in the world, and something happens to bring it all back up, and he kind of has to choose what path his future is going to take.
All right. Do you, as you are interacting with readers, do you get a lot of very emotional response to these sort of things? What sort of reactions do you have from your readers?
I'll say that's actually been one of the best things about that book in particular. I've definitely gotten letters from people whose friends have committed suicide or gone through really horrific things, and they've basically been letters thanking me for showing them that things could turn out in a more hopeful manner. So that really means the world to me, and I've heard from social workers and teachers who have used it in their classroom with kids that they thought might need it. So
absolutely. And there's a huge need for that sort of thing. Young people, just when they go through difficult times, it can have such an effect. And a lot of times, educators, and I'm a teacher, and it's difficult to know how to respond. And we get some training, but it's difficult to know how to help people who have really experienced suffering.
Right. I mean, I think from my own experience, when I was 13, my mother passed away, and I really don't remember anything coming from the school particularly, and there's a certain amount of loss in both of my books, so maybe it's my way of dealing with it, but certainly I hope that they're books that help kids who are going through that type of thing. What Remains, which is the book that came out this year, is I always describe it as a love story between three friends, but it's also a book about loss and grief, and what do you do when the person that you thought was going to be in your life forever suddenly isn't, and how do you cope with that? So.
Wow. Have you what has been the best experience you've had with interacting with your readers?
Oh, tonight was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Really, every interaction has been wonderful, and just knowing that something that I've written has touched somebody in some way or has helped them, there's really nothing better than that. So.
Absolutely. Well, we're so excited to have you at the See a Book Fest event, and would you mind commenting on why you think book festivals are important and why you think that we ought to have a festival like this?
As I mentioned earlier this evening, when I was a young adult, we didn't really have YA as such, and we certainly didn't have festivals like this. And as somebody who is interested in writing and reading, I was constantly reading, this would have meant the world to me to be able to actually connect to the person behind the book. It humanizes it. It also makes you aware that, hey, maybe I can do that. So I think it's that kind of, supportive community building that's so important in this.
Well, thank you so much, and we're so excited to have you and for this book festival. Thank you.
Thank you so much.